Good morning, students. Welcome back to social science class. I hope you all are fine and fit. History chapter 1: when, where, and how. Last class we discussed about the chronology of events and timeline. Today we are going to study about the importance of geographical factors. Let us see. Since time memorial, India has been capturing the attention of the outside world for its unique geographical features. Not surprisingly, people from foreign lands kept coming into India throughout our long history with their distinct socio-cultural identities. Because of unique geographical features, India has been capturing the attention of the outside world people. Because of its unique geographical features, India has been capturing the attention of the outside world. So it is not surprise because people from foreign lands kept coming into India throughout our long history. It is not surprise. People are coming. People from foreign lands kept on coming. People from foreign lands keep on coming into India throughout our long history. So, with their distinct socio-cultural identities. Is it clear first paragraph? Let us see next paragraph. The northern part of the subcontinent is occupied by the Himalayan mountain range, which has acted as a natural barrier separating India from the Central Asian countries. At the same time, however, the passes in the mountains have served as natural gateways for the arrival of people from outside, facilitating the intermingling and merger of different ideas, people, traditions, cultures. So, in this paragraph, what is the role of Himalayas play in framing the history of the subcontinent? The role of Himalayas play in framing the history of subcontinent. As you know, India is protected by a wide range of Himalayas in the north. India is protected by a wide range of the Himalayas in the north. Actually, Himalayas act as the wall of India. Act as a wall of India. It is acted as a natural barrier. Himalayas. Himalayas acted as the natural barriers and it separating India from the Central Asian countries. At the same time, in the mountain range, there are several passes in the Himalayan mountain range. So these passes served as natural gateways for the arrival of people from outside. Those who are coming from outside, they used to come through these passes. Passes, what is the use of passes? People moving from one place to another. So through these passes in the mountains have served as natural gateways for the arrival of people from outside. Those who are coming from outside, these passes act as the natural gateway for the arrival of people from outside. So arrival when people are coming from outside, so facilitating the intermingling. So when people are intermingling with each other and merger of different ideas, their ideas, our ideas, and people and tradition, their tradition, our tradition, and cultures. Okay, when people are moving from one place to another, when people are entering into other country, so they used to facilitating and intermingling and their ideas, different ideas, people, traditions, and cultures. Is it clear? Next, another salient features of the Indian subcontinent is the vast, fertile stretch of the Indo-Gangetic Plain in the north, below the Himalayas. It was around this fertile plain that the first human settlements in this region came into existence. Another salient features Indian subcontinent is Indo-Gangetic Plain in the north. So, in the Indo-Gangetic plains are also known as the northern plains. These northern plains are large and fertile plains surrounding most of the northern and eastern India. The northern plains of India are one of the most fertile plains of the world. So these plains where it is there, these plains lie between the Himalayas and southern plateaus. So it was around this fertile plain, the first human settlements in this region came into existence. So first the human settlements was occurred in this around this fertile region. Okay, is it clear? The third major physical features of the subcontinent is the southern peninsula. Southern peninsula separated from the north by the Vindhyan mountain range. This southern peninsula region is full of mountains, rivers, valleys, and plateaus. During the long course of history, this region has evolved its own distinctive identity, lending a great diversity to the cultural configurations of the subcontinent. So, this southern peninsula also played an important role. It is separated from the north by the Vindhya. Because of this Vindhya mountain, this region separated. This region is full of mountains, rivers, valleys, and plateaus. Because of this region played an important role, lending a great diversity to the cultural configurations of the subcontinent. In ancient times, people used two trade routes to travel across the regions. If people are moving one region to another region, nowadays we have that flight facilities and bus, lot of land and air. But before that, only sea route, trade route only will be there. One of these that linked the Hindu Kush mountain range to the mouth of the river Ganga was called the Uttarapatha. Underline this word. So the two sea routes, name the two sea route in mountain areas means one is the Uttarapatha, the other sea route is covered the area between the Gujarat in the west and Padaliputra in the east was called the Dakshinabad. These, though these were primarily trade routes, people used them for other purposes as well. For instance, these routes were used by migrant monarchs and military leaders and spiritual leaders alike to achieve their respective ends. Mention the name of two trade routes. Men- Mention name of the two trade routes in ancient time means one is Uttarapatha, another one is Dakshinapatha. Uttarapatha is that it starts from the Hindukush mountain range to the mouth of the river Ganga was called the Uttarapatha. The other route is cover the area between the Gujarat in the west and Padaliputra in the east was called the Dakshinabad. These trade routes were used by migrants also monarchs not only for trade purpose, for other purpose also. So these routes were used by migrants. People are coming from one place. Then monarchs, kings, then military leaders also using, spiritual leaders also to achieve their respective ends. Geographical factors also played a significant part in the way civilization flourished and declined. So, one civilization is flourishing, developing, and decline also in the hands of geographical factors. Also, one of them played an important, significant role. The Indus Valley civilization, about which shall study later, it is a noteworthy example. Fertile plains on the banks of the river Indus and its tributary served as natural means for highly protective agricultural practice. Subsequently, surplus in agricultural produce led to the birth of urban centers. This paved the way for the emergence of different classes of craftspersons and traders. So surplus agricultural produce led to the birth of urban centers. So surplus means it is not full satisfied. So it is little bit less only. Surplus means it is so that the subsequently surplus in agricultural produce led to the birth of centers. So this paved the way for the emergence of different classes of craftsmen and traders. So in these important geographical factors, so the Himalayas also played an important role. Indo-Gangetic plain in the north, then southern peninsula and to sea route. All these played an role, important played an importance of geographical factors. So is it clear, students? So that's all for today class. I hope you all understood. Meet you in the next class. Till then, revise the chapter third. Thank you. Have a great day.